Alright, well, I'm here. I'm just chilling. I was just talking about gestation of I don't want to really start it like that. Like I don't know. I do this thing where I just sit down and I just think on things and I just riffed essentially. I don't even know. I don't even really have a anyway, let me just try and get into it. See if I can just touch on it. So I'm see where I left off. I'm getting a little brain fog. I started off with I said that gestation is an overarching term, and it best describes everything that goes on Earth. And I brought that up just to go whatever higher dimension thing. All right, the idea of Loosh. Now, Loosh seems to be like some fictional thing. Like it's made from some author. I forgot his name. Um, some well-known author made up the term Loosh, but it's basically Loosh is like the byproduct of humans, like the resource made from human suffering or human emotion, extreme human emotion, human suffering. Just the Loosh is essentially attention in a way, like to place your attention onto something and then emotions to come out of said thing. That idea is like what I would consider Loosh is. So a Loosh harvester a in a metaphorical way of looking at a Loosh harvester would be like your phone or a screen. You know, you have a question, you type it into YouTube, it shows you a video. If you really think about it, imagine if the screen was just black, like it was just a black screen, and you were just watching it, the black screen, and then from that black screen, you got all these different facial expressions, all these different emotions from that black screen. Like the black screen is getting all of these different hormonal responses out of you. Like that is Loosh, right? So I'm like, okay, so if that's Loosh, think about all the human beings that are doing that. Think about all of the think about all of the ideas that human beings are drawing, that are all of the ideas that human beings are paying attention to, and then all of the ideas that they're like excreting energy into in one way or another. Like the idea of like I want what do you want to be when you grow up? The idea of what you want to be is like leeching energy from you in some weird way. That's when I'm starting to like kind of think about it. And this becomes more prevalent, I think, in fasting. When you fast, you become more aware of how much energy you have to use. And when you start thinking about certain things, you start to see, and you're fasting, you start to see the limitations of your bandwidth. You know, you reach mental fog, or you get confused. Like these are situations of like a brain kind of misfiring or just being weak or not running efficiently, right? So the mind, I don't want to lose my I think I kind of lost my point. We talking about Loosh. I made that point about the mind being efficient, and I was playing with the idea of giving energy to an idea, like giving your real life energy, thinking of something, and then applying focus on that thing is giving your real life energy to that that idea, right? And then I extrapolated that, and I read this book like a couple years ago. I forgot the name of the book, but it was about like it was like an extremely controversial take on sex, and it split the book was split up into two sections, one about masturbation, one about orgies. And the orgy section was more about like the dangers of what orgy life will end up becoming, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the gooning section. It was talking about, and this was very interesting, it was talking about how when you goon, the idea of the woman that you're gooning to is a religion. You're gooning to like this god, and the sacrifice is your, yeah. So think about that. Think about how there's certain ideas that you give energy to, certain particular types of energy, right? One idea can fill you with anger. The other idea can make you climax. Another idea can make you happy. Another idea can make you sad. It's like thoughts perpetuate emotion, like they bait out emotion out of the human. You know, I've heard like this interesting premise how like happiness and pleasure are pains in the body that the body wants to be rid of. Like happiness is just like too much happiness, or I mean too much pleasure turns into pain. So pain and pleasure are like sensations in the body that the body wants to be rid of. But like I always thought that was weird. I heard that from like Eastern philosophy. I can't exactly tell you where I heard. It could have been in Dharmapada or Tao Te Ching, one of them. But just that idea, and then like this idea that ideas, what you believe in, honestly, because you can think anything, but when you believe in that thought, your hormonal system begins to get activated, especially if you believe in it and you kind of accept it. You believe and accept, because I can tell you to believe, and you can tell yourself to do something, and you can all the while not be like emotionally activated to do it. And there is a difference, and we all know it. We all know that stark difference in like someone that wants to do something and someone that doesn't really want to, but they're doing it anyway. And there's something about thought, belief, and like this secretion of energy into thoughts, this secretion of energy into beliefs. And like this is what we call Loosh. This is what I think is what Loosh is. And what is feeding off of that? It's like thoughts are like, if we talk about it from like a platonic side type of thing, like Plato, you know, like thoughts are like perfect forms, and us humans are trying to bring perfect forms into reality through repetition, through iteration, right? Through fractalization. Or what I'm saying is like we have this thought about something, and then we take things in reality and try and make it here. You know, like that's what we do. Even down to even our own self. Like we'll have a thought about our own self, and then we'll spend our lives in active synchronicity to bring about that version of ourselves. This idea, this stace, this static idea of who we are. And then to have that cognitive dissonance between falling short to what you're supposed to be and what you actually are. And that and then that pulling, there's like this there's something here in this area that makes you pull towards it, and that creates friction in life, that creates work, that creates tension, drama, sacrifice just to get closer. But then there's situations where you begin to push away. There's a repulsion, and it's like these two are both fists. You know, these two are both aspects of humanity. One is who you are, and one is this idealized version of who you are, and they both want to be in the now. The idealized version is demanding you to get here, and the you that you are now is in service. Isn't that interesting? It's like, when did that dynamic happen? When did the ideology become above me? Since since when does a living thing bow down to an idea? I wonder when that started to happen. I wonder if anybody really looked at it that way. It's like, when did, like, when, what kind of, how can I say this? What is autonomy if words structure my reality? Shouldn't I structure my reality? But in truth, do I? I come into the world and I use language that is here already to describe ideas that are already here, that I just so happen to have some type of resonance to these ideas built into my nature, so to speak. Maybe. I don't even want to say maybe. Epigenetically speaking, we know that we have those connections from one generation to the next, where your genes literally prep you for what is to come. You know, first, second, and third trimester stress is a thing. It actually is a thing. It's documented. It's real. It's possible to be be formless yet forming in your mother's womb, and be beset upon by multi-billion-dollar corporations. You can think about that. That's wild to say. It's possible to be beset upon by multi-billion-dollar corporations while you are formless yet forming in your mother's womb. Like, how far does this rabbit hole go? It's weird like that. I know I kind of went all over the place, sadly, but I'm just thinking about that. But anyway, let me see if I can pull it back. This idea of Loosh, this idea of something feeding off the experience of man. I mean, in this age right now, attention is what's important, because if you grab someone's attention, you can control their perception, and if you can control their perception, you can control their behavior, and then from behavior is society, and from society, civilization. So if that's the game plan, and attention is the true currency now, like, attention's the true currency, because the true end goal is to control people. It's kind of mind control in a way. It's mind control through context, through language, through context and language. It's mind control. Like, think about it. Like, for example, there's certain words I can't say on YouTube, right? There's certain words that I cannot say on YouTube. I have the contextual awareness, and that creates this internal barrier in my own energy. Isn't that something? So it's like this thing that I'm working towards is created like a particular lane between me and it, and it's demanding me to go through this lane, this one lane to get. I can't go like, I can't go like, I can't go like. I gotta go through this one lane to get to it. That's basically how I look at it. Like the idea of being on YouTube is demanding you to. You can't talk about these things. You can't say these things. So it's filtering the whole, making the whole smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And it doesn't seem that way, but over time, over time, it chips away at your liberty. It chips away at your perception on life, especially if this is the main way at which you get content. You get to know reality. So, man, there's this movie called Silence. I'm I'm gonna probably put up a video about me just breaking it down. But that movie is by it's by Martin Scorsese. And man, one thing I will say about that movie, that movie's really good. It's good. It's good for um poetic reasons. You know, it's not. It's good for critical thinking reasons. It's not